Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen, and we are here at the Singapore Open, our second Singapore Open, second special event for Singapore of this VGC season. I am Matthew Hui, joined by
Brian Tan.
Yeah, we will be here commentating, well, we will be part of the commentary team for today, take you through the rest of today's Singapore Open Swiss rounds. Starting up, we have round 1, and I believe we have a pairing of Joel Lee from Malaysia, taking on one of our local players, Daniel Lee from Singapore. From what we know, Joel Lee is one of Malaysia's better players. He is in fact the reigning Malaysia Open champion, having won the last Open over Brian Wong. And we'll be bidding to see if he can add Singapore to his list of scalps as well. And of course, Daniel is a long-time veteran of the community, though yet to really make a name for himself. He's always been around. He's always sometimes had good performances, but never really made the showing he's would like to have.
Well,
so
but
maybe today will be.
We won't count him out, right?
We're not going to count him out, though. Unfortunately for Daniel, his stream performances have, I believe, belonged in what we could categorize as a meme performances. Last season, he did unfortunately fake out into a crowbat, which didn't end very well for him. So we're going to get into round 1. So today, I believe we have a total of about 50-something Masters players. Unfortunately, not quite the attendance we were hoping to get. So CP-wise is going to be very competitive with only the top 8 who will be going to top cut as well, and only they will be earning championship points from today's event. So unfortunately for those hoping to inch into the top 16 with some CP, that will not be the case for this Singapore Open event, since only the top 8 will be getting championship points to earn their way towards Worlds. So what do we know? I believe you're not entirely too familiar with either player.
Well, I do know some information about Daniel's team. He's rocking quite a rather interesting core of Sivali and Mimikyu.
So I believe that was inspired by the Battle Gloria winning team from Japan.
Right. But from what I know, he's opting to go for the explosion variant of Sivali instead of the scarf parting shot variant.
So not running a scarf perhaps?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Certain.
Yeah.
So we're about to see in the game itself. So again, both players will be getting ready as we set up our round 1 for the entire tournament. So it might still take a while. So until then, we'll hope to see some good games, starting with this set between Joel and Daniel.
Right.
Again, Joel, I believe, just on the cusp of qualifying for Worlds. No, in fact, Joel has gotten his Worlds invite. He's sitting just above the 300 championship point mark.
So he's gunning for day 2?
So actually here in Singapore, he is going to be gunning for the day 2, along with a few other players here today. So a very strong Malaysian contingent here today. Not just Joel. I think we saw Kevin, Coas, even...
I thought Coas is
Coas at this point does live in Singapore.
Yeah, right.
But other than that, we have seen a few other Malaysians here. So adding to the few of mostly local players. And I believe we even saw one Australian here today in Jimmy Chen, who is bidding to make around the APAC region trip today. He's going to be attending the Singapore Open Swiss rounds, and no matter how well he does, he's going to be catching a flight on to Taiwan to take part in regionals tomorrow. So good luck to him. And
really?
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
so good luck to Jimmy. He's going to be taking a around the world trip. So good luck to him as well. So going into our first Swiss round between, again, Joel Lee from Malaysia and Daniel Lee from Singapore. Yeah. And again, both players are mostly ready, and we will be going into the round shortly. Again, we do know up to this point that Joel has actually been very consistent this season using a variant of the same team. I believe it was a team that is based mostly on the build popularized by Nick Navarre in the US, which he took to the internationals as well as a few regional championships, which is the core of the Z-Move Coco, the Scope Lens Katana, as well as the Assault Vest Arcanine, to provide a general bulky support for the rest of the team. It's a team that also has the very reliable pair of Porygon 2 and Gigalith, which Nick himself is quoted as believing it is the strongest self-contained pair in the entire format.
Right, so Joel is rocking definitely quite a bulky team, right?
Oh, but Daniel's team here, Joel's team is as predicted. It is the Tapu Koko, Arcanine, Oranguru, Gigalith, Gyarados, and the Katana.
While Daniel's team is the Snorlax, Lilligant, Toko, Tapu Lele, Mimikyu, as well as the Sivali.
Right, so right off the bat, we see that Daniel has a lot more modes to his team, I would say.
Right.
More direct sources.
So I think the Lilligant and Toko is like a tech choice for his team against other weather teams.
Yes, the team itself doesn't rely on the sun. In fact, it relies entirely on the rest of the team. But the Liligan Toko does give him a very strong second option against other weather teams, as well as somewhat on autopilot mode as well, to go when people bring counters to the trick room.
So definitely some form of flexibility being shown here from Daniel's side of the team.
Whereas Joel, as we see, his team is unchanged from previous tournaments. He has tagged in his Oranguru over the more standard Porygon 2 on this team build.
Right, so it will be interesting to see how things will play out from here.
Yeah, it's interesting to see whether either player wants to opt for trick room, considering both players have functions under trick room. Right. And we're about to see Daniel lead with the Silverly and the Tapu Lele.
And on Joel's side, Tapu Koko as well as the Arcanine.
Right, so strong options here. We're about to see which terrain goes off first. It will be the Tapu Koko Electric Surge. So safe to assume that Daniel is not running the Scarf Tapu Lele.
Right.
So however, if he is running the Scarf on the Silverly, what do you think that Joel has to watch out for? Is the explosion a threat even after Intimidate?
Probably either the parting shot or the explosion, I feel.
Even at -1, do you think is an option worth going for?
Well, the explosion at -1 isn't anything impressive, right? As far as I know. Silverly does have 95 base stats throughout, so we'll see what Daniel decides to opt for.
But then, as you pointed out, parting shot is a very strong option, especially since Tapu Koko does not have, as we expect it to not have, the Life Orb, which would mean that its offenses are not boosted by an item. Right, so a parting shot would go a long way.
Yeah, we see a switch out from Arcanine to Oranguru here.
But Tapu Koko outspeeds the Silverly, so perhaps not the Scarf we were expecting after all.
So it's probably choice banded, I guess.
Yes, so are we going to see the explosion after all? Oranguru has come in. Oranguru is not immune to normal type, nor is anything Joel. It's going to be the Arcanine coming back in to get another Intimidate, a very strong option.
This is a very defensive move made by Joel, so I guess he probably expected the choice band explosion in a sense.
Yes.
So he's playing quite defensively.
Goes for the Giga Impact instead. At -2, not going to do much. Well, still takes Oranguru below half.
Yep.
As Psychic follows up into the Arcanine slot in the terrain, that is definitely an assault vested Arcanine. So Arcanine able to comfortably absorb that hit, though he's not going to be able to take another one. And I don't really see what Joel has. Or he could change the terrain, I suppose, to save his Arcanine. Since the Silverly is going to be forced to recharge after the Giga Impact.
The Arcanine does outspeed the Tapu Lele, right?
Well, we haven't really seen either player. We haven't seen the Arcanine move yet, since he did switch in and switch out. So we have yet to see which of the two between the Arcanine and the Tapu Lele are faster. And if Tapu Lele does move first, then Joel's only option, if he wants to keep Arcanine in, is to switch in the Koko on the Oranguru slot. But chooses to preserve the Arcanine, goes for the Giga Leaf.
Right, so I guess this is a really safe option made by Joel here. So I guess he wants to soak up any attack coming from Daniel's side of the field. Yeah,
his Psychic does go into the sand boosted Giga Leaf, but that is still going to do a lot of damage as Trick Room does go up for Joel.
So I guess the Giga Impact is gonna be on the Oranguru slot, I presume?
Assuming it is choice banded and it is locked into Giga Impact, then the Oranguru is the most logical option unless Daniel chooses to make a switch, which he might do since Trick Room has gone up. And Snowflakes might be tempted to come in now if Daniel brought it. At the same time though, he has to be wary that Joel has a very easy Rock Slide plus Instruct play here, which could do a lot of damage.
And the potential flinch might do more
Yes, a double Rock Slide would definitely hamper Tapu Lele's chances of attacking if he survives the turn.
So we see a switch here into the...
Goes into the Snorlax. So Daniel does choose to bring the Snorlax in, but it's going to be taking a lot of free damage. As Rock Slide comes out from the Giga Leaf, not going to be doing more than half to the Tapu Lele. But Instruct is going to come out. If Giga Leaf lands a second Rock Slide, Tapu Lele's chances of attacking are going to be around half.
Right, and this is going to be quite crucial for Daniel because he really needs to get rid of the Giga Leaf.
Oh, and Tapu Lele does get a flinch there. As pointed out, double Rock Slide having an almost 50% chance to flinch the opponent.
Well, it's kind of unfortunate, right?
Yeah, but Joel definitely playing the odds he knew he could get, and Daniel has gotten his Snorlax in, and assuming he has trained it accordingly, Snorlax will underspeed and one hit KO the Giga Leaf with a high horsepower at this point. Right. So Daniel does have options to it, and if Giga Leaf chooses to protect or switch out, that means a free attack for the Tapu Lele.
And something interesting to note here is that Snorlax pretty much checks the rest of Joel's team. With the high horsepower, he could hit 3 of Joel's mons, right?
Yes, we have seen the Coco at the back, so that's definitely not something he can switch in to take high horsepower. And unless he brought Gyarados, there is not going to be a way for him to really absorb the high horsepower. And since he already brought Arcanine, you think it unlikely that he brought Gyarados as well. Daniel choosing to preserve his Tapu Lele, brings back the Silvally. Under Trick Room, of course. Maybe he's going to hoping lock himself to a different attack.
So
but Rock Slide going to go before the Snorlax, so Daniel not opting for a minimum speed Snorlax.
Right, so we do see the
and he's going to be risking the flinch on the Snorlax. Does he want to risk the Belly Drum here?
Oh, the Figgy Berry.
No, it does go for a high horsepower. It does land on the Gigalith, and that should be a knockout. Gigalith goes down, and Joel's main Trick Room attacker is now off the field, and this might be prime for Snorlax to attack.
Right, this definitely puts Daniel in an advantage here, as he can just freely spam high horsepower under Trick Room, right?
That was a very risky play for Joel to go for the Instruct. Since he had to, first things first, he had to know that his Gigalith would move before the Snorlax, which I suppose is, well, Gigalith is naturally slower, I believe, by 5 points, so there's that. But at the same time, he had to assume that the Snorlax would flinch or not go for the attack.
Right, I presume the safer play would be to Psychic the Tapu Lele slot, just to get some free damage off, in case the, well...
Yeah, since he Silvally did come in, and Psychic would have picked up the KO under the rain.
Yeah, right.
So unfortunately, Joel opting not to take advantage of his, well, playing the turn a bit too straight, and perhaps relying a bit too much on the potential flinch.
Right, so the favor is definitely in Daniel's side of the field here, as Snorlax will move first.
Yeah, Snorlax is now the fastest thing under Trick Room, and able to, at this point, pick off the Oranguru. So I suppose at -1, Oranguru might still take a return. Oh, but Daniel playing it safe, goes for the Recycle.
Right, do we see the reverse Trick Room from Joel's side?
Arcanine going to be moving before the Oranguru. I believe the Oranguru is resetting Trick Room here.
Right.
As Flamethrower takes out the Silvally, and Oranguru will be able to safely reset the Trick Room.
Right. So it's kind of questionable play by Daniel's side, right?
Yeah, Daniel maybe Daniel didn't believe that Return could take out the Oranguru after the Intimidate. Otherwise, you would have thought he would go for it. And Oranguru actually going into range.
The most optimal play for Daniel would be to high horsepower the Arcanine slot. Since I guess he could.
Yeah, at this point, you would expect Daniel to have caught on that the Arcanine is the assault best,
right?
And that he wouldn't be able to protect from high horsepower, but Daniel choosing to play a bit too safe, maybe hoping to have more turns under Trick Room. Unfortunately, Joel realizing that he needed to get rid of Trick Room before Snorlax starts boosting.
I guess Daniel could potentially punish the Coco switching if he does want to cycle the Intimidate from Arcanine.
Yes. As Tapu Lele returns to the field, and I think this turn we will finally find out which of the two between the Arcanine and the Tapu Lele are faster. Is faster, rather. I suppose Daniel knows his own Lele best. If he is running a max speed Tapu Lele, then he will feel very confident going into this turn. So again, if he still suspects the Arcanine has Protect, this could still get a bit iffy. I hope he doesn't turn into a potential Mental Herb on there. Oh, Oranguru is the berry, so there's no need to worry about the Mental Herb.
But no reason for Joel to set up a Trick Room here.
Yeah, definitely not with the Snorlax at almost full health and the berry intact. The question for Daniel though is what does his Snorlax want to do?
Probably just...
Arcanine does outspeed here, goes before the Tapu Lele. Can he get a knockout? I believe he can.
Yeah.
At this point, Lele does go down, and Daniel is slowly bleeding Mons here.
So we'll see if high horsepower can connect this time, right?
And Joel does reveal the Toxic, which will put Snorlax on the timer.
Right.
As Snorlax does go for the high horsepower this time onto the Oranguru.
So, interesting play, right?
Had to be calling a switch, you'd say. But why would Joel want to switch in Coco at that point? To risk potential damage.
It's still a 2-hit KO, right? Even after at -1.
The only explanation I can give is that Daniel thought that his Lele would move first, and that Joel's only out was to change the terrain.
Right,
to make the play have some sense. But Daniel reviews his last one to beat the Toko. And given that he didn't bring a Trick Room of his own, he was kind of relying on Joel to set it up for him.
But I still see Daniel as in being in control of the...
Yeah, Joel still has yet to show us anything that can take out the Snorlax. And if Joel goes hard on the Snorlax, then Toko is going to have free reign to fire off eruptions. Though not anymore now that the Snarl is going to drop his special attack and lower the base damage of eruption. And instructs now. So Joel going hard into the Toko, not wanting to take any sort of boosted fire attacks. And with Toko unable to switch, Toko is going to be stuck at this permanent lowered special attack for the rest of this game.
So high horsepower.
But Daniel's still not opting to boost, but goes for the high horsepower and does not pick up the KO on the Arcanine. But Heat Wave will pick up the last bit of chip damage. And Joel and Daniel down to the last two. Snorlax still sitting pretty healthy, though Joel does have the Twinkle Tackle at the back.
Right.
And Snorlax is still on a timer thanks to the Toxic. And Daniel is now unable to switch out.
If the Coco does protect, things might get a bit trickier for Daniel, right?
Yes, because Toko's source of offense now is strictly very much reduced.
And limited, right?
Now that special attack has been halved thanks to the Snarl, and its HP is too low to effectively use Eruption.
Joel might potentially stall to the point where Snorlax might just die to a Twinkle Tackle.
Yes, definitely, because he just ate his berry, but Toxic, I believe, is on his third turn, so he'll be doing
So the damage is definitely ramping up here, and it's putting Daniel on a timer.
Every subsequent turn after that, Snorlax will be taking more than a quarter damage thanks to poison. So he can't recycle forever, and at some point, as you did point out, Tapu Koko choosing to protect to give one additional turn of poison damage onto the Snorlax.
So Daniel getting punished for not getting rid of the Arcanine early.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
He played a bit too passively with Snorlax, recycling when he perhaps could have gone for offense.
Yeah.
And goes for the straight play of high horsepower into the Koko, but he has to realize that after the Intimidate, high horsepower is not going to KO the Tapu Koko. And his Snorlax is slowly getting his health ticking away thanks to that Toxic. Does he go for a Twinkle Tackle here, you wonder?
I do think that Twinkle Tackle would be his best option here. Or the Thunderbolt Instruct play could also be.
No, that's true. There is Thunderbolt Instruct as well. It does go for Thunderbolt. Are we going to see Thunderbolt into the Toko, in the terrain, going to pick up the KO? And are we going to see an Instruct as well?
Yeah, probably.
Yes, we do see the Instruct. Thunderbolt in terrain, not boosted by an item. So Snorlax should take the hit, but
he's not going to take it well.
He essentially has to get a critical hit, high horsepower this turn. Goes for high horsepower, it does land, he needs the crit, does not get it, and that should be game for Joel.
Right, so Daniel making some really questionable plays right here. Not opting to go for the offense when the Trick Room is up.
Yeah, he definitely made the right plays bringing Snorlax under Trick Room, but he didn't seem to
capitalize
the
on
obvious Trick Room reversal on Joel's side and bring Toko and Snorlax without his own Mimikyu to set up Trick Room for himself. Somewhat questionable for Daniel. His Toko really did nothing for him this game other than get snarled and
and I don't really see like a reason for him to bring Toko, judging from Joel's team.
Yeah, Joel has Giga Lift.
Right, and Joel also does have the Gyarados as well as the Arcanine, so Toko wouldn't be that useful in the matchup, I feel.
Yeah, the only reason to bring Toko is if for some reason you're petrified of the Katana.
Right.
But I'm sure Daniel has other options to deal with the Katana. Oh, actually, looking at his team, he might have Katana problems without the Toko.
Right.
Which it could be the mindset going into the previous game. So but at the same time, if you're going to bring Toko, I think you have to bring the Mimikyu.
Right.
As we saw, Daniel was just stranded without Trick Room to support him. Free to get snarled.
Right, so at one point of time when the speed favor was in Daniel's side of the field, Daniel didn't really capitalize on that one turn where he could have actually done damage to the Arcanine, right?
Definitely. He went for he predicted a switch into the Koko and high horsepower into the Oranguru slot.
At that turn, he let Joel reverse the Trick Room.
And he went for he didn't go for the return to KO the Oranguru.
Yep. So things really went downhill from there as he let Joel dictate the pace of the game, right?
And right from the beginning, was Gear Impact really the move you want to be locking yourself into from the start? Especially after the Intimidate.
That's questionable.
Yeah, you have to imagine that if he had gone for Parting Shot instead, the whole game could have been different. Since Joel sets up Trick Room and he Parting Shots into Snorlax right on the same turn.
We do not actually know the full moveset of Daniel Silverly, right?
That's true. I mean, he could have decided that if I'm going to run Choice Band, I'm going to run all offensive attacks.
He might potentially tag something like a Flamethrower in.
That's true.
Yeah.
Though band Flamethrower perhaps, not quite the return you would hope for, but still a solid KO on the Katana. Right, going into game 2, Daniel is going to have to rethink how he approached the game from last game. I think Joel just wants more of the same. As we do see the same lead come out for Joel, Tapu Koko and the Arcanine, setting up the Intimidate for Joel. as Silverly and Mimikyu, I believe, come out for Daniel. So Intimidate does come out again to intimidate both of these physical attackers. So
I wonder if Daniel actually would decide to bring the Taco now that he has the Mimikyu to set up the trick room for him. Right.
Yeah, this is, I believe, to use the slang parlance, this lead, I believe some people call it the boom room lead, which is a straightforward explosion into the trick room, which Daniel could go for, but after the Intimidate, I don't expect it to be picking up any KOs.
Well, I'm led to believe that Daniel's last Sumon is probably the Snorlax as well as the Taco, since he
he does lead with trick room here.
Right.
And Silverly choosing to switch out after the Intimidate
so
goes into the Snorlax.
Right.
So Daniel perhaps going straight for the trick room, as Arcanine switches into the Aranguru. No, into the Katana. So Jurel switching it up with the Katana. As Tapuko vote switches here. And
to break the disguise.
To break the disguise, and if he predicts the trick room, you expect the Gigalith to be coming in as well.
Right, so after knowing that the Gigalith does underspeed the Snorlax under trick room, Jurel is definitely still sitting in a pretty solid position, right?
Yeah, especially since Mimikyu's disguise has been broken.
Right, and the Rock Slide can potentially stop the Snorlax.
Yeah, flinch the Snorlax and the Mimikyu both. And now, Daniel's also staring at a Katana, which I believe neither of his mons can hit effectively.
Right, if Daniel does EV his Mimikyu to survive the smash, right, that would be...
he does, that's definitely an option, but the question is, what can he do in return? Both Mimikyu and Snorlax not known for having moves that hit Katana especially well. We have seen high horsepower, so that's Snorlax's hardest hitting move on the Katana. And Snorlax is not intimidated yet, but Mimikyu has been intimidated.
Right.
So, and both of Mimikyu's attacks, both the Play Rough, although Shadow Claw would be neutral on Katana.
I do think sacking the Mimikyu to bring in the Taco here would be optimal.
Yeah, but will Jurel give it to him? I believe Jurel's play here is to go after the Snorlax.
Right, or I think Jurel would play defensively and switch out.
Here comes Rock Slide though, so no misses on Rock Slide.
Offensively.
And are we going to see any flinches on Daniel's side of the field? We do see a flinch on Snorlax, and we do see a flinch on Mimikyu, and Sacred Sword into the Snorlax, going to go into its berry. But so Daniel in a terrible position after that Rock Slide.
It's not looking good for Daniel right here.
We don't even know what he went for there, since both of his mons flinched that turn.
Probably a high horsepower and an attack from the Mimikyu.
Well, the other option there is we don't know. Actually, Daniel might even have gone for the belly drum into a psych up. So that would be a super risky play, since if Snorlax flinches, Mimikyu psychs up nothing. So well, if he did go for that, both flinched, so nothing lost.
So wasted turn of Trick Room for Daniel right here.
And now Snorlax probably in Sacred Sword KO range after the berry.
Right, and Snorlax might not even get a chance to attack right here.
Yeah, thanks to the Rock Slide.
Right.
So far, Joel not having any misses on his Rock Slide. Goes for the Heavy Slam into the Mimikyu, going straight for the offense. Should pick up the KO. Mimikyu being, well, extremely lightweight and weak to steel. So does go down and does eat a high horsepower from the Snorlax into the Gigalith. Barely even half there as Sacred Sword. Oh, and proccing the weakness penalty on the Gigalith. Oh. Things go from bad to worse for Daniel. As Sacred Sword should pick off the Katana, the Snorlax here.
So things not looking really good.
As Daniel down to his last two, we expect it to be the Toko as well as the Silverly, which we saw earlier. But the question here for Daniel is, can Eruption kill Gigalith at this range?
Probably not.
Without the Sand Boost though, I wonder actually. Since he is holding the Charcoal, Eruption should do more than half.
Gigalith is rather bulky and it does resist the Eruption, so...
That is Tapu Lele.
Tapu Lele, so...
And oh dear.
Yeah, so...
That is Tapu Lele and Silverly staring at a Gigalith under Trick Room with doubled attack.
Right. So if Joel does manage to land his Rock Slide here, I think it should be game.
He's going to do more than 50% to both at least. And it's going to be relying on Daniel landing his attacks through the flinch once again.
So this should be a deciding turn for both players right here.
Daniel at this point is probably praying for a Rock Slide miss. Though Joel could just go for the Heavy Slam to Tapu Lele actually.
Right. So that Tapu Lele wouldn't have the chance to fire off a sidekick, right?
Yes, so you don't even risk the chance of not flinching, you just go for the KO, the guaranteed KO that you know you can get. And Daniel is kind of forced to attack with both here because he can't really risk taking the Rock Slide and getting his one. He does go for Heavy Slam into Tapu Lele. With the boost from the Weakness Policy, Tapu Lele does not stand a chance. Tapu Lele goes down. So it's going to be Silverly against the world. If it is choice locked, that is not the option you're probably looking for.
So that
and
should be
Sacred
game.
Sword into the Silverly,
Right.
weak to the fighting attack,
Yep.
does go down, and
So-
Joel takes a very clean 2-0 over Daniel.
Yep, this was a very decisive match by Joel. He did play to his advantage, and his choice of mons was actually pretty optimal in this matchup.
Yeah, we expected Daniel to adjust from game 1 to game 2, but he prioritized setting up Trick Room without having Toko at the back.
Right. So
and
you
knowing,
would expect
and knowing that Joel had the Giga Leaf waiting for him as well.
you expect him to at least bring the Toko, right? Since he did hard lead the
Lead the Trick Room.
Trick
yeah.
Room, right?
So it's really not sure what Daniel was thinking in game 2 there. And Joel just had to, as we saw, Joel just had to vote switch and just react to Daniel's plays. And
Right,
Daniel just
so-
played right into his hands.
The last move revealed by Sivili was U-turn.
Yeah, so choice
So-
band with explosion, Giga Impact, U-turn, and cutting shot or flamethrower, I think. Well, it wouldn't be probably not flamethrower since he went for U-turn into the katana. So good games there to both players. Joel taking the win in round 1. So still in with a chance of repeating his Malaysia Open success here in Singapore. Daniel gonna have to lick his wounds and come back stronger in the subsequent rounds. That wasn't the strongest showing for him. He perhaps not as familiar with his team as he could be. He perhaps was too in love with going for the hard trick room leads in both games. Well, and in game 1 he definitely was relying on his opponent to set up trick room for him, which didn't really work out since Joel just easily reversed it once he realized that the speed was not in his favor.
Right. Daniel definitely not really using the flexibility provided by his team to the fullest, I guess.
Yeah, Daniel definitely got locked into obvious modes that Joel was able to respond to.
So I guess in game 1, Joel was fearing the Lilligan Toko lead.
Definitely, based on the
So he
how
was
approached
leaning
it.
really like defensively against him.
Yeah, but Daniel didn't exploit it as he pointed out.
Right.
Letting him get the double intimidate on turn 1 and forcing himself to lock into Giga Impact, which forced the Silverly to be stuck on the field at -2 attack and having to recharge for additional turn.
Right,
Which
so-
gave Joel a lot of momentum.
Joel was definitely dictating the pace of the match right just now.
Definitely. Right from turn 1 in both games we saw, Joel had the upper hand and just let Daniel play into his hands every turn and slowly closed out both games.
Right. Joel, I guess he pretty much capitalized on Daniel's mistake and punished him quite hard for it.
Yes, definitely. So good plays to Joel there, and we will be bringing him on for an interview, so stay tuned. Alright, and we are back, and I'm joined now by the winner of the round 1 of Swiss, Joel Lee from Malaysia. So congrats, Joel.
Hello, thank you very much.
Right, so a very well played set from both of you.
Yes, it's a very interesting game playing against my opponent just now. I'm actually more afraid of the Toko Lilligans combo, but
Yeah, we saw
he
in
did
game
not
1 you were
break that.
definitely a bit over prepared for Toko Lilligan.
Yes, but apparently he's more towards the Silvally Snorlax lead. That's what I realized, and I tried to adjust that during game
Yeah, we
2.
saw in game 2 you definitely made a very strong adjustment. Once you knew what he was going for, and you just I think you left your Oranguru at the back.
Yes.
Right, you didn't bring it, so you adjusted with the katana. I think we saw in game 2 he didn't have anything that could hit katana at all.
Oh yes, but then I would say that the main core is that he's trying to set the belly drum up from Snorlax, and he had difficulty trying to do that because I did get pretty lucky with the double flinch on that
Yes,
part.
definitely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the fact was that you had something slower than the Snorlax under
Yes,
Trick Room.
yes.
And I think in game 2, I think you definitely knew what he was going for, and you had a very easy game plan in your mind. You wanted to vote switch into the Giga Leaf and play from there.
Yes, because from what I see is that he really needs the trick room to set himself up. But then knowing that Snorlax is actually faster than Gigalith, he might consider to really just chill that trick room first, get the belly drum out first, and then just go from there.
Yeah,
I think
so-
that would be a better plan from his end.
Yeah, it's definitely we saw. And so, were you concerned about Silverly? I think in game 1 we saw you go for the double intimidate. I think you were afraid of the explosion coming up.
Yes, because I never know what kind of Silver Leaf people runs right now. The ones that I know is usually more the Scarf variant, but from what I see, that's not Scarf.
Yeah, probably banded, I would say.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
So we
bad,
saw you
yes.
definitely you made a very strong turn 1 play. You got in the double intimidate. So even if he exploded, both of your mons are likely to stay alive.
Yes. Because I don't have a ghost Pokemon, so
Yeah,
I need to.
you only resist to the normal type is your Gigalith.
Yes, and to intimidate.
Yes,
That
of course.
does,
Yeah, so very strong play. So I think in game 1, definitely you had to adjust. Since I think you saw you were definitely prepared for Taco Lilligant,
Yes.
and you saw Silverly instead, so you pivoted. And in the end, I think you did manage to get a very strong play. You set up Trick Room for the Gigalith. Once Gigalith went down, you reset Trick Room for yourself.
Yes.
And I think it worked out for you since once Toxic got onto the Snorlax, he was on the timer. Then you
Yeah.
could slowly stall him out.
Yes.
Then
That's-
game 2, once you knew what he was going for, you
That's
definitely
easy.
could play a much stronger game plan.
Yes, just for the rock slide, and I was pretty fortunate for that. flash shot.
Definitely, but again, if you had brought Toko, then at least you had something slower than Gigalith. But he didn't bring the Toko in game 2, so Gigalith was able to just close the game out very
Yes.
cleanly for you. So
Yeah.
once again, congrats, Joel.
Thank you.
Good luck for the rest of the rounds.
Thank you.
And we will be back after this for round 2 of Swiss, so stay tuned.
Thank you.